Welcome to Six in the City, the podcast where 620-somethings talk about shit and some of them live in cities.
I'm Jen.
I'm Lexi.
I'm Nancy.
I'm Elena.
I'm Jane.
And I'm Robin.
Hi everyone, welcome back to our podcast. Today we'll be talking about the lives of women in their early 20s trying to make it through the pandemic. Today we have Elena, Jane, myself, Robin, Jen, Lexi, and Nancy. So I feel like over the past year or so, I guess it's been a little over a year now, something that we've come across a lot is everything like being virtual, and I know that we all work virtually or go to school virtually. So one thing that I wanted to bring up is, what are some ways that you've managed to incorporate self-care into your daily routine when it's difficult to go out and do things that you would normally do pre-pandemic?
Well, for me, I actually used to not really watch TV a lot, but because of the pandemic, my form of self-care is actually watching TV. And it's actually because I work from home now. Usually for lunch, I'll like watch an episode of something to like really not think about work or whatever and just really watch the show and like enjoy my lunch. But also, I guess for self-care, what I really like did since the pandemic was focus on my skincare routine. I'm not wearing a lot of makeup because I'm not going out now. So like now is a time to really like, work on the foundation of my skin. And I think that's really helped. So I incorporate that into my self-care too.
I take baths. I love baths. I like to watch TV in the bath. I like to sit in the bath. I know it's not good for your skin. Like I've heard all the stuff about how you shouldn't like sit in hot water, but sometimes you just need to sit in hot water. Also, shout out to Robin, who was my secret Santa in 2020 and got me a bath tray, which holds a drink, my bath bomb before I want to throw it in, and my phone to watch a show. 10 out of 10. Highly recommend.
I would say my self-care is my TikToks. It's like really easy to get lost in TikTok, I feel, and I think it's like a great way to like escape reality.
I'm not very good at self-care, to be completely honest. But I feel like what I do is play games or like watch TV. Like I bought myself a Nintendo Switch to like treat myself. And honestly, like that helped a lot with like the winter sad vibes. And I play a lot of team fight tactics now, thanks to Jen. And it's very addicting.
I was also going to say that I feel like my self-care got a lot worse because of the pandemic. And it really, I know you mentioned earlier, Jane, that it's like over a year now. It's crazy to think that I literally haven't started to actually attempt to take care of my self-care until a year into it. But one thing that you guys already know is, well, before pre-pandemic, in the before times, my like go-to treat myself thing was getting my nails done, like at a salon. Like obviously can't really do that, or at least I'm choosing not to. So I've been doing my nails myself. And it's like the first time I'm like actually doing cuticle care and all that good-ish. So it feels nice. I feel like for me, self-care is like actually focusing on like myself physically, whether that's like letting myself take a nap or having yummy food to put in my body or taking care of my fingies. That's my self-care. What about you, Jane? What self-care things have you picked up?
Yeah, I was hoping that you wouldn't ask me this because I don't really do self-care either. I feel like I've never done self-care. I haven't done self-care in the pandemic. I don't know if I will ever do self-care. But I think one thing that I've been able to do and enjoy since I've been home for the pandemic is go to the dog park with our family dog Buddy. I think it's nice to just go out there, get some fresh air. Yeah, it's just nice to be like around other dogs as well. So that's been nice. But yeah, I kind of agree, Robin. I feel like this past year has definitely been a blur. I wish I had been more productive throughout the pandemic. And I see other people that are like, oh, I did XYZ during the pandemic. But I really feel like I haven't done much. But that's okay too, It made me realize that like working from home and just being a homebody really isn't for me. So I'll like take that knowledge and do what I need to do with it post-pandemic. which kind of leads me to my next question. What are some habits that you've gained during the pandemic that you want to take with you post-pandemic? And then also, what are some things that I guess you want to do that you are not able to do now post-pandemic?
I'll answer the first half of that question. The first thing that came to mind that I really enjoy that we didn't do previously, and I hope we continue, is our PowerPoint parties. When I think of like scheduling fun time into my schedule, it's like it seems like such a thing now, but honestly we did do it before. Like that would be us like getting dinner together or like getting boba or whatever, but this is like more structured, and I'd say more like unique and interesting. Like I love learning about all your niche topics, like Elena's whole Daft Punk presentation last time. Really, I learned so much. So I've enjoyed that we picked up during this quarantine time, and I hope we continue, especially since we're all kind of spread out across different cities.
I think something that I've gained during the pandemic that I want to continue doing, I do want to echo Robin's PowerPoint parties. Like the other thing that I want to take with me after the pandemic is being more intentional. I think a lot of the times I've realized that, for example, when I get a text message, like I just react to it. I don't really like think about the process. I'm just like, okay, like here's like a quick text or a response back. But then I want to actually like respond, like truly respond with whatever I'm thinking and like add substantial thoughts to my conversations. That's like one example of just being more intentional.
I guess for intention, I've really focused on food, both good and bad. But because I have free time by like not commuting anymore and I can eat lunch at home, I really like have started trying to value and understand what actually goes into my body. Tried like a bunch of different diets and like lifestyle eating nutrition changes, but it's really been helpful to have now actually have the time to focus on this, because it's not like I'm like rushing to get out of the door to get to work and I forget to pack lunch, or like my coworkers are all enabling us to go like get unhealthy, food, because I succumb under peer pressure a lot, especially when it comes to food. So it's like nice to kind of have that own independence, even though it's scary, but like understanding like I can actually choose what to eat and not be influenced by other people. Because even before pandemic, like people would ask if they want to go get, boba or Korean barbecue. So that's really been something that's been helpful for me, like a lifestyle change that I hope to be able to keep.
I think I definitely would say like PowerPoint parties and similar things of organizing fun events with friends, or just having more opportunities to be in touch with like my friends more, if that makes sense. Like I want to keep doing that even after the pandemic. Another thing that a habit or a hobby that I've picked up during the pandemic is trying to like stimulate my brain more. So I've picked up reading again, honestly, during COVID, which is something I didn't do during college. Like I got an iPad, so I've been, drawing more, and I'm trying to like do more of these like more side passion kind of hobbies, and yeah, I think that's something I want to hopefully keep on doing even after the pandemic is over.
Wait, Jen, that's actually a really good point. I think being at home all the time made me kind of question like what the hell am I doing with all my time?
Right.
That makes me like go find things to do that I wouldn't have done if I'm commuting.
Right.
Because like it really like reestablished what your day-to-day schedule looks like.
I feel like I've picked up a lot of bad habits I don't want to continue. Like waking up and working in my pajamas for the first 4 hours of work because I don't have a meeting till 1 o'clock or something like that. That's horrible. Like I need to wake up and get dressed and go out and see the world. But I think one thing I'd like to continue as something I've been doing is I was into cross stitch before the pandemic started, but I got really into it because I had all this extra time. And so I like bought all the supplies and went a little crazy. It made me realize how long the projects really take. I still haven't finished a project I started in January. That's partially because of my carpal tunnel, but like it feels like even though it takes so long, like it's rewarding at the end. I don't know. I really like it. Hope to continue doing it, even if I have to do it a little bit less because I'm a little bit busier.
I like low-key can't think of anything, just kind of making me sad. I feel like my life hasn't changed except I'm just inside more. Like I am so busy this year like if anything, I had like less time to like find things that interested me. But I guess like gaming, I like played games a lot before, but now that I have like my own system and like also play like PC games, that I don't know if that's like a good habit to take out of the pandemic, but it's something I'm definitely still gonna do. I guess also just like contacting people more and keeping in touch more. Before it was like I wouldn't like take the time to like check up on people every day virtually because I would be like so tired after all of my social interactions in person. But like now I take the time to like talk to you guys every day and talk to like other people all the time. So I guess that's something. Yeah. Just like take more time to check up on people, even if I don't see them during the day.
How do you guys work around Zoom fatigue? When I'm not on camera, it is so hard for me to focus. Meeting after meeting, cameras off. I'm just like scrolling on my phone. They can't see me, you know? Especially in my job, there are definitely a lot of meetings I don't have to be there for. So for those meetings, I'm just like checked out because, you know, but like if I was in person, one, I probably wouldn't be invited to that meeting. And then two, if it is a meeting that I have to be there, it'd be in person. So I'd probably be like taking physical notes because I don't take notes online. I've never done that even in college. So yeah, how do you guys like stay focused on Zoom and how do you deal with Zoom fatigue?
My biggest pro tip is to, when you are the person organizing the meeting, tell everyone it's an outdoor meeting. Whenever I have to meet with undergrads for my job, I'm like, go outside. If the weather's okay, go outside. I'm going to call you on the phone, like old time phone call. And we're just going to have a chat. We're going to have a chit chat. And it doesn't work when I need to like share my screen because I do digital media stuff. And sometimes I'm like showing, a student how to use a program. Obviously it doesn't work then, but when we're just like chatting through ideas or like brainstorming the next campaign for our social media, I'm like, we're going outside. And if there's a meeting where I don't have to be on camera and it's nice out, I'm walking. I'm taking a walk. That meeting that could have been an email, it's my walk now.
So I think I'm similar to Jane. I don't really get Zoom fatigue. When this is out, I would no longer be a grad student, but like all my classes are asynchronous. So we actually don't have live lectures or Zoom. So that already is taken out. And then all the meetings, like my company is really good with only inviting you to meetings that are like relevant to you. So if I am in a meeting, I would likely have been in that meeting in person anyways. So for me, it's much better being in my own, in my pajamas or whatever and like be comfortable instead of like being in person. And I know a lot of people have the anxiety of seeing themselves when they are on camera, like seeing themselves being reflected back. But I actually really like it because I am actually seeing all of my emotions and how I might portray myself to someone. Whereas in person, I don't know. And I'm the type of person that sometimes I'm not good at my facial expressions. And I've caught that sometimes on Zoom. So it's really allowed myself to be reflective of like how I might act or like react to something. So I actually don't mind. I like don't mind being in my pajamas during Zoom as well. So like I my like pro life tip hack is that I always keep a jacket or a sweater or like a top like on my chair that I just like quickly like put on when I have like a Zoom meeting, and like I don't even go upstairs to change. Like it's just like that one outfit, and I'll change it out so that it's not the same one all the time. But that's just what I do. So I actually don't mind Zoom, like because for me, I'd take Zoom 100% over in-person meetings any days.
I don't really have Zoom fatigue either. Also, I don't use Zoom at work, so I use Teams. So like, I'm not used to like saying Zoom. But like I would say actually meetings aren't like a huge part of my daily routine at work. I enjoy my meetings kind of at work. They're like interesting. And I think Jane said like if it was in person, she wouldn't have to attend these meetings. And like I agree, but these are like meetings I would have wanted to attend in person, if that makes sense. So like I'm kind of glad that I'm able to join like now like virtually.
I'll say I think for me, Zoom fatigue is definitely real. I'm glad you all don't really feel that way for those that said they don't. But I think for me, it's just at the capacity that I'm on Zoom, like hours per day, because I'm working from like around 10 to 4. And I'm usually in 2 to 3 meetings that are camera on, unmuted. I'm usually talking majority of the time, if not leading it, or an active participant at work. And then 5 to 7, I'm in class, where most classes where camera was pretty expected. I have kind of stopped giving a fuck the past few weeks. So that's been a new progression. And I agree with Elena that when my camera's off, I focus significantly more better. Like back in the fall, I used to do my brows and my eyeliner, and I was like, okay, people are gonna look at me. These are new people. Like, I want them to think I'm not a potato. Then it like stopped to being like no makeup, just, glasses and whatnot, and then but still camera on. And then this semester, really like halfway through in that like March midway point of the semester, I just like stopped going on camera. And like, I think I honestly have been participating, or not participating, but like more engaged with the material I'm learning a lot more, because I'm not so concerned about how I look. If my camera's on, I know my professor's looking at us. They always say they're on gallery view, and I'm like, don't look at me because I'm not paying attention. Or like, I don't want you to pick me like to answer a question. So there's that. And then even after class ends at 7, between the hours of 8 to 11, I usually have a group project meeting or national leadership meeting or something. And so I'm on Zoom from 10 to 11 pretty much, like on. And so for me, I'm sick of it. I'm so like ready to be done. I definitely think it's nice. Like, it's better than in person, having to just like sit there. But I think like with Jane, I probably wouldn't be in some meetings if they were in person, or at least to this frequency amount, because I just like physically cannot attend a meeting that, ends at 4 and starts next one at 4. So Zoom fatigue is real, I think, for those that are in school as well, with synchronous classes. We're also doing internships and other extracurriculars and whatnot. Yeah. And I feel like it's also not just the capacity, but like the continuation of it, because it's been this way for me since the fall, since August, at this capacity. Like, I think if I was working just one full-time job, I think like Lexi said earlier, it would be definitely easier for me to balance. And I would only be concerned about Zoom in the context of work. So yeah.
I agree with Robin. I know I said like I like being off camera, but in all honesty, only one of my classes lets me do that, and the other one like won't start the class until everyone turns their cameras on. So it's very exhausting. Also in law school, we have this thing called cold calling. So they can call on you at any time and make you answer a question. It's very stressful. You obviously like don't want to look stupid, so you have to be prepared like at all times. They usually don't repeat the question unless they're like super nice. So it's very exhausting. And especially I have this one class that's 3 hours long from 6 to 9 p.m. And it's just like that like level of like anxiety and like staring at myself on a Zoom screen is like, it gets to you. It really does. Yeah. But at the same time, I think I learned better online. So there's some trade-offs. There's some trade-offs there. I think just in the future, I know I'm not going to take any more 3-hour night classes because that was not the move.
Thanks for sharing, everyone. I feel like we all have a very different but relatable idea on Zoom fatigue and kind of like the pandemic and working through it. So yeah, I think it's really nice to have a diversity of opinions and experiences. But I guess kind of looking forward, since that was in hindsight, I want everyone to go around and just say the top 2 things they're excited about once the pandemic is over and there are no restrictions on like meeting people and traveling, etc.
Number 1 is probably traveling, or just like / meeting you guys and like friends in general. I've been very socially isolated this past year. I've only met, I think Jane is like the only person I ever even like kind of met during COVID. And that's because she was dropping off an air fryer, and it was like a very socially distanced like drop off of her air fryer. But like, yeah, I haven't met anyone except for my family. So I'm really excited to like, get back out there. And I know we all have like travel plans later this year and next year too. So that's like one answer. And then I think my second would be like eating out in a restaurant, or like physically going into a store and like getting Starbucks. My sister mentioned it to me, like she's like, oh, you can just like honestly make the same drinks at like Starbucks at home. But it's like the experience, of like going out of your way that action of like purchasing a drink and stuff. Like I haven't eaten out since COVID. My last outdoor meal was with Robin and Jane in K-Town, and I didn't know that would be my last meal. And I haven't eaten out at a restaurant since, so I'm really looking forward to sitting down in a chair in a public restaurant and getting a menu, tipping someone. I want to experience it again. But yeah, those are my two things.
What I was going to say is that my first number one top priority is to give hugs. I just want to hug people, especially the people that I really miss, which, you know, it's just really hard. I feel like I have been stuck very alone. I have also not seen anyone. I waved to my friend Elena, who is the co-host of my other show, and I waved to her. That was it. And then I have not seen any other friends besides my one hometown friend. I've seen social distance in the park a couple times, but I feel very, very alone because I feel like I'm in the middle of nowhere. I guess I am sort of, but yeah. And I'm used to living in a city, so it's very, very strange. And then my number two is definitely to go sit in a museum, like not really like walk around and look at the stuff, because I feel like you can even do that. A lot of them are open now, but I just want to sit and not be judged for sitting on a bench in a museum for 5 hours. I know I'm weird, but you know, that's my vibe. I like to people watch in museums because it gives you some good insights about how people are thinking about museums. And when you're a museum studies nerd, it's the best kind of people watching for you.
I think my two things, number one is like go to concerts again, which we are doing Izu. But I mean, I think I'm looking forward more to like small concerts where you can like chill at the bar or just like, you know, vibe. Like I'm really looking forward to like rooftop bars again. I guess that would be my second one, even though it's also kind of my first one. Yeah. I just want to like go to events in general, just like any event. I want to like see like a group of people and be like, wow, we're here to like be at an event together and not be like worried about, oh my God, these people are way too close to me.
So for me, I do echo Jen's sentiments on traveling and meeting and seeing you guys all again. But since it's already been said, I'll like use that as a freebie. The first one would be like inviting people over and having like a chill kickback and like a lot of people over. And like thankfully, my previous birthday was right before the pandemic lockdown, and I was able to have that because I like hanging out with people, but I don't really like going out to do it. So like having like being able to just like meet up in people's homes or like even better my own home, so then they can all just leave and I like just go to like bed right after instead of like traveling. But just having us all in like closed tight spaces again and a lot of people and not have to worry how many people, you know, and social distancing. So I can't wait for that. And even though I said I don't really like going out, I do miss going out as well. Similar to like Elena saying, like rooftop bars. Like I just want to be able to like go to a bar, dress up, have my like wear makeup and not wear a mask. So like I'm not like feeling like I'm wasting my makeup because no one can see my makeup. Even though like I do my makeup for myself, I also want to like look good and be portrayed like that I'm looking good, right? So being able to like sit in a bar or like sit somewhere, chill and like dress up and not feel weird for dressing up and just vibe out, you know?
I was going to say a lot of the things you all already said, but to be a little more specific about the food thing, is there certain foods that I feel like I'm particularly excited about? The number one thing is hot pot, because I can't imagine having hot pot right now with all of us sharing our salivas when we dip our chopsticks and our spoons into that broth. But post-pandemic, I'm excited for that. And then oddly, I'm actually really looking forward to watching a movie in a theater again, because as much as I loved just having content immediately given to me through all the subscription services, I do kind of miss just going in like for the first time, watching something that's like relatively brand new and experiencing it for the first time with so many other people, that movie theater, buttered popcorn. So I do miss that. And I'm looking forward to that.
I definitely echo what everyone has said. Like nothing like super extraordinary that's like different, but I guess some things that are like lower down on my list that I would like to share is being in more control. I feel like I'm kind of a control freak in this way, but I feel like right now I can't plan my life and like the event that I want to do because I don't know what I'm going to go back to the office. Like I don't know what's expected of me. Like do I need to go back next month, like next week? I can't like anticipate that. So being able to like have a solid plan and be like, I'm free this weekend, let's go do something, and kind of having that like flexibility to be like, I'm blocking off this time to do this specific thing instead of just kind of being in limbo, which is what I've been feeling for like the past year or so. And then another thing would be fitness. I can't work out at home. I don't run, so I can't go running in my neighborhood. So yeah, like I just really need a gym. So kind of looking forward to getting back into that. And yeah, I feel like we all have like similar ideas of what we want to do all together when we meet up eventually, hopefully in the fall. So yeah, thank you everyone for joining us today.
I just realized that we're filming this now in mid-April, but this isn't going to be released till June. So things might look different or
Very
feel
different.
different. So,
That's true.
But good vibes out there for when this
Mhm.
launches. Hopefully when this
Yeah.
launches, you'll be like, haha, remember when all that was relevant?
Manifesting going to a restaurant in June.
Whoever is listening to this in the future, tell us what the future is like.
Oh my
Like,
God.
is it good?
Send me a DM right now to this date.
It's deep.
DM our Instagram, Six in the City Pod, and let us know what the future is like if it's post-pandemic.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Six in the City. You can follow us on TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter at sixinthecitypod.
This episode was edited by Jen, with music brought to you by Gandhira Patama. Thanks for listening.